This is my father, Edward the Eighth, and the real Edward the Eighth. And this is my Aunt Georgia O'Keeffe from Madison, Wisconsin, the artist. My father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe, Georgia's baby sister. And he never married this woman. This was a total lie, all of it. She's an American spy. And by the way, I want to mention this while I have this time. She was put on Life magazine, or one of the big ones that was back then. So this would have been, she married the double in 37. My father remained married to my mom, and they were still alive in October of 86 when I came to Roanoke. This is just one of the imposters. They became the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. But to show you how your press and everything is controlled by the very people that kidnapped me, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, the Kennedys, Joe Kennedy, and his father was made ambassador to England 36 to 46 when they kicked him out. And JFK flew in during that time of my birth in 39 and kidnapping. He actually helped kidnap me and bring me to Moulton, Alabama, where they gave me the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey, and I married Childers, and I still have to use this name. This family, this was a special event for this family. I don't know what they did with the photograph. This is Lina Dempsey, the mother of the twins, and she was a psychopath. She murdered Carl about a month after birth. They were about a year older than me. And she killed Peggy. They fed her to the pigs, actually, a week or 2 weeks before I was put there, so it was all planned. And JFK was a part of it. And my own uncle helped give them access, illegal George VI, thus Elizabeth, and that whole brood's a bunch of thugs, traitors, and they're war criminals. And by the way, Elizabeth has lived on my money in my homes while I've been homeless and tortured in every way possible here, and amassed a lot of money. She went through Virginia a few years ago when the Virginia Tech, which was one of the mind control murders. And I'm going to say this, I was writing about mind control. I hadn't found out about my kidnapping. And Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, when I was doing the book in 78. He says here that I know who was responsible for his shooting in Lawrenceville. I lived in Marietta. I guess I said that. But this came in April of 84. I'd been out there and he furnished, I hope I didn't get a picture of, this is an old magazine. I've got to have to do this over. But anyway, my father never married Wallace Simpson. And this is the way history still records it. And they don't mention me. Sir Winston Churchill burned the Windsor Files. I mean, this is unreal that it's been allowed to happen. And your presidents, all of them, Roosevelt was a part of my kidnapping, the Kennedys. It's unreal, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds that control your press. And I started out telling about Wallace Simpson. She was put on magazines, and people said how sad it was that she couldn't have the title of queen. Well, she married a double, for God's sake. The whole thing was a takedown of my father, who refused to do what the global government, your Illuminati mafia, ordered him to do. He wouldn't do it, and they took him down. Then they took his daughter. They gave me another name, and they had to have gone out to get a camera. This was back in 43. Moulton, they lived out on a pigsty farm, and they had no cars. This was all put together, this was. I remember this being taken because when the cousins to Peggy sent it to me. And, of course, she's dead, and he's got to know it. They all knew it. It was a cover-up because, and I was told this later, but this Annie Carter here, because Lina Dempsey would have faced the gas chambers in Alabama. And I want you to know this has been no secret. I didn't know it. I knew something was wrong with the way I grew up. but I didn't know I'd been kidnapped. But when I found out about it, I could remember a lot of things. And I found out a lot later. And by the way, the Brits told me, and the Germans and the Americans know it. So it's no secret. The press won't print it. It would be to tell the torture and what they've done and the money that this country has brought in, the technology. I was taken, Moulton is near what became NASA, your Space Center. Werner von Braun, the German scientists came over. My ransom came in not just money, but other ways. So Moulton is about 45 miles from Huntsville. But what I really wanted to put down here, I found out in '83 I'd been doing the book and telling about mind control murders. But it's when I started telling about what had been done to me personally here and my kidnapping that attitudes changed. The Americans do not like for you to tell them the crimes their country has committed. The taking down of my father just for the hell of it. And they helped in it. They used me as a hostage, and the Brits had to fight against our own interests with the United States. The United States has always said that the Brits and the Americans have this special relationship. Well, that happens to be me. They kidnapped me. Your presidents, every one of them, and especially Jimmy Carter too, knows of it. And your Secretary of States, and God knows you. Oh, where's your Congress if they don't know? What I wanted to say, this is being redundant, and I probably had everybody, if they picked up and turned watched the YouTube, they'd probably cut it off by now. But I was watching Dr. Phil, and he's had similar programs on in the past, but this man was, I've forgotten how old now, he was older, but his mother was still alive, and they were both really kind of sweet people, but they'd have to be terribly naive, and I thought I was naive and gullible and kind-hearted. I don't know that they were that kind-hearted except to each other, but my point is that he had been divorced for many years, and on the internet, I believe is how he found this woman found him, or he found her, and it gets into you wouldn't have believed the money he sent and all the lies this woman or whoever it was, may not even have been a woman, told him over a few years. And she took all his money, and he even took part of money from his mother, because this woman kept coming up with being all kinds of problems, and she was overseas trying to get back. I find it hard to believe that this man and the mother were that gullible, that they couldn't check up on it, because Dr. Phil pointed out just now on the fake passport the inconsistencies in it, and he brought the real woman who was in Texas, and she's in the beauty business, and she was a very nice lady, had nothing to do with it. My point is, look at all the money. He talked about sending his investigators to, I think it was what was overseas, in the Netherlands, and I've forgotten, I think the woman at one time was in South Africa, I'm not sure, and being held against her will at the airport, all this kind of, you wouldn't believe it. But he sent her all this money, and I've forgotten what it amounted to. It was a lot, and got part of his mother's to help her get back here. Now then, when Dr. Phil showed the real person, and it wasn't her, she had nothing to do with it, she was a victim too. And he had been out all this money with investigators and all this, checking out the story and etc. People feel empathy for him, or they, they get involved, they're ready to give money. I want you to know that all the money that was mine has been stolen, my identity stolen. I've lived in a hellhole all my life. I have had psychological warfare done on me, everything in the book. And my children, I'm not going to say anything else there. I hope I get to see them. I hope they're alive and well. And by the way, they're heirs to the British crown, the British throne after me. And to know that this has been played out in plain sight, I can't get an attorney, I can't get into court because most of it should be criminal. And then the money. But then if they gave me the money they've stolen from me and that should be mine at home, where I was stolen from Buckingham Palace, then I would have money instead of begging social services to let me have $16 a month or begging for food because I've been moved around so much and I've put all this up, been made a pauper and homeless. And I listen to all the money, like here in Roanoke. People get together, they build homes for the people from other countries. They give them food. They have festivals for people that are out of the country and moved here. I'm not talking just about here. I'm talking about if it's ever shown what happened in Huntsville, Alabama. They knew who Lionel Dempsey was, that she killed her twins. They knew who I am before I did. And by the way, I worked for the district attorney there, Simpson, in 1980 after I was almost killed and was trying to get the book published because I hadn't found out about my kidnapping then. Got a letter from the FBI June the 23rd of 79, which is my father's birthday, June the 23rd. But I wanted to get to this. Mind control was used in a lot of these murders, and they can be proven. That's what I was writing about when Larry Flynt was shot. And Lee Harvey Oswald was programmed. But I didn't know at the time. My husband worked for the CIA, I was told, and I believe it. But he used to, clue me with a few things. Looking back now, it didn't mean anything at the time. But the Kennedy, that was mind control, that Lee Harvey Oswald was programmed to shoot him. But nobody cares when I've mentioned all this, and I can prove it. I've got the birth certificates of Peggy and Carl, and they prove it. The state of Alabama just blatantly marked through the dates of birth and stuck the one up that when they brought me here, kidnapped me, they gave me, because the twins died about a year that were killed, at least Carl was, and I'm not going to go on, Peggy was killed, so she would have been about a year older than me. So they just marked through the date of birth of the twins and stuck the date of birth that I had been using since they put me here. It may be my real birth date, I don't know. But I get it that people, and I know there's some people here that care. They have over the years. But 99%, you would not believe how they've treated me like a garbage dump, made me beg, plead. If it's ever told, it's such a hideous thing to put on a human being. I'm paying for their crimes that they committed against me. And I hope and pray today the JFK files were supposed to be, all of them, open. They're not going to show you any of this. I'm shocked that they were open. It's the Time really released the last of them. Because Robert Kennedy was shot by Sirhan Sirhan, and I've always told that he was programmed. But you get into a whole list of them, and some of them are going to hit you hard, America, when you find out how it was done to you. Who are you going to blame, though? It's almost like they blame me for being kidnapped and for even daring to tell what's been done to me, or that I don't salute the American flag. Oh, you wouldn't believe. Or that the military here I should look up to. Beg pardon? If anybody's listening to this, or even watching it, I listen to all these where they tell the stories on here, and people can't wait to send money in. You know, I've been putting this up on YouTube, because I guess he's still a friend of mine. I hate to say it because his name, I'm not going to say it was just used on Dr. Phil here. Um, but it's been all over everything, and people. I don't know where I'm going this next Tuesday. I don't have the money, not because I didn't try or do anything. I've eaten pasta sides most of the time and lived on the Appalachian Trail when I could. And it's hideous when you get in what they've done to me. I'm just not going to say anymore. I've put it up. I hope the whole story's told. And I'm tired of paying for other people's crimes. But my God, I'm 79 years old pretty soon. So, unless there's God somewhere. I lost it. You all won a long time ago. You took it from me during the revolution, so-called revolution, and then you took down my father and you kidnapped me. Ain't that a shame?